Ain't gonna let nobody load it. Turn me round, turn me round, turn me.
I think for any group, all I ask is that they have a willingness to learn, a willingness to be exposed to information that they've not heard before. I often call these trips or these tours an opportunity to return to the roots of civil rights. And by that, we find ourselves going to a lot of the key southern sites of the movement and meeting with a lot of the key people in those places. My name is Dr. Todd Allen, and I am the founder and director of the Common Ground Project. Common Ground Project is an organization founded to teach the lessons of the civil rights movement in order to not only help people better understand that history in terms of its past, but its relevance for us in the present. When we think about the history of this movement, we often think of the big names such as Dr. King and John Lewis and Rosa Parks, or the big organizations like the NAACP and SCLC. But what we forget is this movement was made up of the masses, the everyday, ordinary people. It's kind of get lost sometimes because you go to these museums or you go to these parks and you see these monuments and memorials. But we've got to remember, these were not people who set out to make history. They set out to make a difference. Being in these places, in these spaces where this history happened, walking that ground, sitting in the pews in these churches, right, and going to buildings where mass meetings were held, standing on sites where arrests were made and beatings occurred, then the blessed opportunity we have to be with people who made that history, right? And so as we travel on this particular journey, we're going to meet Rutha Harris, who was one of the original SNCC freedom singers, and learn songs of the movement that hopefully will stick with us, not only again during this trip, but as we go forward. I often tell people that once you hear Rutha sing, you won't be able to unhear her.
Come by here, come by here, my Lord, come by here, come by here, my Lord, come by here, oh Lord, come by here. We all need you, Lord, come by here. We all need you, Lord, come by here. We all need you, Lord, come by here. Oh Lord, come by here.
When we go to Selma, we're going to meet with Linda Lowry. Linda was the youngest person to march the entire Selma to Montgomery March at 14 years old. She was on that bridge on Bloody Sunday and beaten alongside her sister. But Linda still had the courage and the fortitude to want to go on from Selma to Montgomery, 54 miles. Second day of that march, she turned 15. So that is how she celebrated her 15th birthday. When we go to Birmingham, we're going to get a very personal look at the bombing of 16th Street Baptist Church 60 years ago this year. And we're going to meet with Reverend Dr. Carolyn McKinstry, who as a 12-year-old was in that sanctuary when it was bombed. And then we'll also meet with Miss Lisa McNair, whose sister Denise was one of those 4 little girls that were killed. And so again, it's going to be an opportunity to not only be in those places and spaces, but with the people. And that is going to, I think, leave an impact. The best book, the best documentary film can't quite do. And we're blessed to have them with us.
So many of the places that we visited, we've learned about or seen the photos, iconic photos, but when you're there and you experience and you're going through the tours of the museum and you see people crying and just looking at photographs, and so I felt this connection that also made me want to learn more. And as soon as I returned back from my trip, I started researching a lot more as well.
I asked myself, would I have the bravery? How can I, fight injustice every day. How can I be more brave?
Meeting the people who participated and just the courage and hearing about they were representative of, hundreds, of people, and just that they were courageous and committed, and it was the best part of the trip.
This was traumatic. Even though they were courageous and brave and doing the right thing as an example for all of us, those hits hurt. And they didn't just, that bomb hurt, not just the body, but it hurt them. And one shared with us that she was stuck for 15 years, just 15 years, she emotionally stopped. And that's the part, that human trauma spoken by people that actually have worked through it, even Lisa working through it. That was new to me, to see the rawness of that.
When we walked across the bridge and we got to the part where it leveled out, and I looked over and just imagined what they saw. And they kept going. They went with the dogs and the police and everything. It just kept going. That was very powerful to me.
What I really want people to do, I want them to, one, come to these places and spaces, learn that history. But when you go back home, I want you to think about what was going on where I'm from at that time in history and begin to learn that history. But I don't want you to stop there. I also want you to think, what is going on right now in terms of racial injustice, where I reside, and what can I do, as the late Congressman John Lewis often said, to find a way, to get in the way, to make good trouble. So if you just come and look at this experience as a way to go back and explore the past, and look how far we've come, then I think, as they say in experiential ed, you had the experience, but you missed the meaning. The meaning will really be found in what difference will this experience make for you when you get back home.
In the war.